Part 10 to the biggest mistake I made in prison, dating a drug lord. Let's get it.
Yes, I'm Jay. Most of the things I don't wanna say. I won't be around while you chase.
So Ike is looking at me saying, you better move. And I'm telling him, I'm not going nowhere. And he said, you better move, D. And I told him, you don't scare me. Remember, you had to pay a nigga to do this to me. You didn't do it. And he said, I did. Because I got that bread. I got that bread to do it. He said, see, that's the difference. I got bread to do what I need. I ain't got to get my hands dirty. I said, but it's still on your hands because you did the whole ass shit. Everybody know that you paid to have that shit done to me. We still arguing in the middle of the church house. And now I would tell y'all, Tone had like 107 years. So Tone was one of the niggas that didn't give a fuck either. So he told the niggas, he was like, you niggas might jump me, but one of you niggas is going back to the hospital. And I'm telling you, y'all both not gonna make it up out of this bitch. That dude Ryan is like, nigga, I knock your bitch ass out. He's like, bitch, you ain't gonna do shit. I'm gonna stick one of you niggas. Now, what I did tell was, Tone had already placed the order for right? And so what he would do, once since all this shit was getting crazy and shit, he started taping that bitch to his leg. So like he would have that bitch, he would have a nice rod, and he had that bitch taped to his leg, right, with some duct tape to where he could just like snatch that bitch out. He had it on too. And like I said, he had 107 years, so he didn't give a goddamn about sticking one of them niggas. The shit was going so crazy, the boss lady came in and was like trying to calm us down because you got people that's already in here in the church that's like sitting down, right? And so the preacher done stopped preaching or whatever, and because it's just so much going on, right? The boss lady coming in and she's like screaming saying, y'all gotta get up out of here with that, y'all gotta get up out of here with that. But they still arguing. I go and run and grab a chair because they like getting all up in Tone's face and he not backing down. So I go run and grab a chair. I be like, what the fuck you think you gonna do with that? I'm like, I'm gonna hit one of you niggas with it. So I was like in his face. I'm like, you really think that this was some cool ass shit to have a motherfucker to do to me? And he said, I don't think they did enough, to be honest with you. I don't think they did enough. So I was like, all right, you sure right? I was like, you a monkey ass nigga. I was like, I ain't going nowhere. He did it, but I ain't going nowhere. They ended up shutting the fucking church house down. They shut everything in the church house down, made everybody leave, shut the church house completely down. Like, by the grace of God, nothing ended up happening. Like, it was nothing really happened after that. We was leaving out of the church house. It was just really a bunch of arguing. Like, me and Tone was arguing with Ike and Jazz dude. I mean, but I was more so arguing with Ike, and Tone was like arguing with both of them, but I was like going back and forth with Ike or whatever. And we like they went that way on that side of the phone, and we went back towards the to A side. When I get back to the pod, you know what I'm saying, over there with Jazz and them, like slowly but surely, like little bits and pieces was coming out about how the shit happened, what happened to me, who was paid and who what. So the boss man that was working at the A turnout that morning while that door was closed, the boss man that was working at A turnout, he was paid to make sure that that door closed and allow that shit to happen. Nobody wanted to say shit. Nobody wanted to admit to shit. They wanted to stand up because everybody was scared. Remember, one of my shoes was gone, right? So the shoe, when Judy held the shoe up and I was like, who did this to me? I don't know. I didn't even realize, but that was the shoe that came off of my foot when I fell on the podium or whatever. The nigga was supposed to snatch both of my shoes, but I guess he could only get one. So he took one of my shoes after beating my ass like that. Not only that, the nigga was also supposed to Friday the 13th me. He was supposed to. The reason why he didn't is because the fool that he was supposed to be getting from could not find it. I don't know what that meant, but this is what me and Jasmine would find out. The only reason that he didn't end up Friday the 13th is because he could not find the guy that he was supposed to get it from. Could not find the. Also, remember I said Red was in the multi-purpose room, right? So now, if y'all go back and remember when I said that one of my other close friends, Chris, told me, was giving me the word, like putting a little birdie in my ear that somebody already told him that they was gonna plan. What's the name was planning? I was planning to do something to me, and I wasn't really trying to hear. But remember, I said that Red was standing right there by the fence while Chris was telling me that. Come to find out, Red was the one that told Chris and gave Chris the warning to give me. He just did not want to get in it because he was spooked too. So he didn't want his name in it, but he was the one that told Chris. Chris just made it seem like somebody else told her just to tell me, but Red was the one that told Chris to tell me. And Red was waiting in the multi-purpose room because Red had already knew the plan, like that the shit was supposed to be going down. So he was pacing back and forth, I guess, in the multi-purpose room because he hadn't heard that it ended up happening. And so when he seen me, that's why he was so like fucked up about it. I swear to God, everybody was willing to play this game and go after him with me and Jazz. I can honestly say, and I appreciate that. So the plan, me, Jazz, Sean, Chris, Low C, all went into my cell and we started putting this plan together. But while we putting this plan together, we got some white boys that's coming to us. We got some old white punks that's coming to us. Not these on the cool, you can call them Karens, the motherfuckers that's used to politicking and writing shit up in them. They are like highly pissed about all of this. And so they telling us, while all of us are in my cell plotting on how we fit to run this play on Ike. Because I said, Like I told him when we was in the cell, I was like, he want me gone. Bitch, if I gotta go, you gotta go. I'm not fit to get the fuck out this unit and let you run me out so you can be over here still living like, bitch, if I gotta go, you gotta go. So the plan that we ended up putting together, we got them cameras and all them that wanted to be in on this. They was really the ones that said they'll do all of the typing up these statements, grievances on their typewriter. They typed up, I swear to you, like so many grievances and different LID, life endangerments. So much shit against him, right? It was about at least about 11 or 12 of us that, you know, we just signed. Most of them, they typed the shit up really, really good. And we all pretty much just like signed our names on the shit, right? Then they came back and said, well, I don't need to do one because they already know what's going on with me and him, like the people. So I don't need to do one. Just let everybody else sign and get in. And then it was more people that was coming and told us to let them write some more, type some more so they can get in on it, right? Because everybody was mad. Like the niggas that lived on the building was mad. Like everybody was mad at what happened to me. They was mad how this nigga was like the shit he was doing, the tactics, like, so everybody was all in. Then Red ends up like getting word because one of the persons that was writing a part of the shit told Red. Red came and told me he wanted in. So Red ended up signing and getting put on one of them statements too. And all of us have agreed to go through with this plan, right? So this paperwork, all of these statements and grievances and complaints, everything that is being sent in, there are some just crazy allegations against him. Some people have said he assaulted them. We went low. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. We went low to the gutter low with him. It was some crazy ass allegations that was put on those grievances to fight him. Everybody signed their statements and they sent their grievances in and shit. This was on a Friday. This was a Friday when they were submitted, right? And dropped in the box. Everybody dropped their shit in the box on a Friday. Whenever you send in a grievance and complaints and shit like that, they gonna call you down to one building to do their little investigation and go over the shit. Then you gotta go to unit classification. Y'all gotta go to unit classification after that, which will be like the next day, right? That was on a Friday morning when it was dropped in the box, right? With the way all of that shit went in at the same time, I was on the rec yard at 12 o'clock rec talking to Tone, right? And while I'm on the rec yard, I see everybody that has signed and dropped these paperwork in the boxes. I see everybody coming in a line down the sidewalk. Jazz, Sean, Chris, Red, everybody, the white boys, the white girls, the white punks, the older black dudes, everybody that's in, they are all walking down the sidewalk. I'm knowing they going to one building. So Tom was like, damn, all them put shit in. I'm like, hell yeah. So Jasmine was like, shit, we're gonna tell you what happened, but they counting us down there. So I'm like, all right. So I'm laying on the concrete on the rec yard talking to Tom. So when they go down there, they come back, maybe like an hour and a half later, they come back. And Red calls me to the fence. And he like, yo, come here, come here. I'll run over there to see what he want. And when I ran over the fence, I'm like, what's up? He said, we got him. And I said, y'all got him? He said, we got him. I said, you for real? He said, we got that nigga ass. I said, how you know? What you mean? He said, they went and got that nigga in his shower shoes. They got the nigga in his shower shoes out of the shower and just escorted that nigga to the 11 building. We just seen him. Like, they got the nigga. I was like, really? So I'm like, okay. So I go run and tell Tom. I'm like, Red said they got him. They just locked him up or whatever. They got him out the shower. They put the nigga in the 11 building, right? I said, that was a Friday. So he is in the 11 building over the weekend. That weekend, I see some of his goons ducked off on the other side over there by 10 building, like doing sign language shit in the windows. So he's on that end in the window. So I'm like, okay. And like I said, when shit like this happen, after they do this investigation, everybody that put them statements in got to go to unit classification, right? So that was this week during the weekend. When the weekend go by, you can't do nothing because it's just the weekend, right? Unit classification all this Monday through Friday. So that motherfucking Monday morning, everybody had to go to one building to unit classification. But do you know that motherfucking morning, it was another cool boss lady that I was cool with. She came on my wing and said this was around lunchtime, but everybody had to go to unit classification that did them statements. She came into my session and said, Dior, bring your motherfucking ass here. I'm like, what's going on? The way she said, I'm like, something wrong. So I run down the stairs and she said, everybody that we got on this list, they got to go to one building for unit classification. You need to tell them, do not go down there. She telling me this because for one, she in the game, right? When I say in the game, she is actually one of the laws that would bring my shit from Ike. But she didn't like the fucked up shit that he was doing either, right? It really was just looking out. She telling me they can't go down there. And I'm like, why the fuck they can't? She said, because bitch, his niggas is down there waiting on them. What the fuck you mean? She like, bitch, them niggas is gonna jump on whoever come down there. They down there waiting because they finna jump on them. I'm like, oh, hell fucking no. I'm like, wait a minute, wait. So they are in front of one building. I'm like, get the motherfucking captain and major them out there to get their ass off the sidewalk so they can go. I'm running to the damn crossover doors. You know, I'm telling Jazz, I'm telling the SSIs to go over there to get everybody that's a part of this so they don't go down there, right? So I'm like trying to send word to them, don't go down there, do not go down there because them goons is down there, don't go. So now we trying to plan it like, well, you got to go to unit classification. I'm telling her, you're going to have to tell them to get the major and the captain and the warden out there to clear that sidewalk out in front of one building because we not supposed to get them fucked up over no shit like this. Like, no, fuck it. I'm like, that's why his ass is locked up. Like, he's like a fucking monster. Like, what the fuck? Garb's on our side because we was able to work it to where they can get them wardens and major them out there, and they cleared that shit out because they was not coming. And we made it clear like that. Ain't nobody coming up there to no UCC or nothing until that shit cleared out because there's some people up there that's not supposed to be up there. So they cleared that shit out by the grace of God. All of them went to unit classification, and he also has to go to unit classification. When they was down there going to unit classification, Sean told me as she was walking into unit classification, they was bringing him out, right? Sean told me that when she was walking in and he was coming out, he said, you bitch ass punks gonna die. And Sean got a smart mouth. Sean said, I told him, nigga, fuck you. That's why your ass back there in this bullshit. Come to find out, he was doing all this and he was pissed off because when he went into unit classification, they said that they was shipping him. He wasn't getting out of 11 building. He wasn't getting out of lockup. He was getting put on a motherfucking bus. That was our plan. If I gotta go, you gotta go. Like, you're not gonna bully me. No, bitch, you gotta go too then. We both gotta go. If I gotta go, you gotta go. The plan that we put into place, it actually worked. They actually recommended him transfer. He had to get on the bus. He never got off from back there. And now my ass is thinking, hell yeah, his ass is getting shipped. I'm like, bitch, good. I'm like, me and Jazz and the bitch, we high five and we like, bitch, got his motherfucking ass. Like, I'm like, the plan that we put together, we lined that shit up. Them goddamn white folks typed that shit up on them typewriters and gave the shit to everybody. And it wasn't like we had to run the playback and do this shit again. It was like, bitch, we was one and done with his ass. Put that nigga ass on unit transfer while he was back there. But I thought it was over. And it wasn't. 2 days later, I want to say it's like 2 days later, I got moved. All of a sudden, like, they moved me from on one section with Jazz to 3 sections. I'm also finna add another character into this. We gonna call this nigga Snake. He was one of the old heads that was supposed to be cool with us. And I mean, like, he was supposed to be just as cool as Bobo and all of them niggas that we was like cool with. Like, he was like supposed to be that cool, right? So much that when me and Jazz and them used to cook and shit, we used to feed his broke ass. And he wasn't even one of our runners. But we used to feed his broke ass because he was our homie. Supposed to be, right? We was cool. This nigga Snake and us was cool. We never had no issues. We were cool. They moved me into the cell with this guy named Ronnie Ray in 72 cell. Ronnie Ray was an older black guy. He was about maybe like 45, 46. Cool. He never tried to come on to me. He was just cool. He really was cool. We didn't know why I got moved. It was just weird. 2 days after that, it was a Wednesday. I'm in my cell asleep. And it's like, I want to say this was maybe like 5:30. I got the same boss lady that gave me the heads up about them niggas being down. It's actually right around shift change because she worked on days. So she was just coming in. She comes and wake me the fuck up. Tell you how God be. Whoa, well, God be, I'm telling you, God be on time. I'm telling you. She come and wake me up. And she said, Dior, I need you to come out here with me. We need to talk. What the fuck is it now? I'm like, the nigga getting shipped, he's getting transferred. Like, what the fuck is it now? Like, what is it? So I come out of the cell with her and she was like, let's walk down. And we walked down like, cause I stayed on 3 row. Me and Ronnie Ray stayed on 3 row. So we walked down like that platform where me and Red had that fight when we was together on the other side of the farm. We walked down and stood on that platform. It was like kind of like a blind spot. He tells me, she said, you need to be fucking careful. And I said, why you say that? What you mean? I'm like, I already got jumped. You see the nigga put a hit out on me. She was like, that's fucked up. But it don't seem like the nigga's trying to stop it. I said, why? She said, because as I'm coming on the building with my shit, I see another nigga that's from 7 building walking in front of me. She said, I'm just watching the nigga. The nigga name was Garfield. That was his nickname. I'm watching the nigga because I know he don't belong over here. So she's like, I'm looking at him as he walking in. The desk boss said, where you going? And he said, I'm going to A-Part. She was like, what cell you live in? And he said, I'm on A-Part 3 section in 72 cell. What fucking cell I live in? That's the cell I got moved into. She said, the desk boss said, what's your last name? He said, Jones. My last name. They said, oh, Jones, and what's your TDC number? He gave them my number, 1336735. The bitch that was behind him said, she said, you a motherfucking lie. That's the art. That ain't your cell. You a goddamn lie. The nigga turned around and was like, oh, you hating ass bitch. She was like, hell yeah. The boss at the desk said, get the fuck off my building. You lying? Get the fuck off my building. She said she told the boss and them, get the sergeant and make him strip. I don't trust him, make him strip. So they made the nigga stand at the fence. And the sergeant came. And they stripped this nigga. And guess what they found on this nigga? A motherfucking shame. This nigga was coming over there to stick me. The nigga lied and said that he was me. That nigga knew my number, my TDC number, my last name, enough so he can get past this desk. If she wouldn't have like really like made them stop this nigga and search him like and getting caught with something like that on you can say it. So he actually ended up going straight to say it. You know what I'm saying? He was out of there. That's what I say by God. You know what I'm saying? So then I was so shook up from that shit because I'm like, at this point, I don't even know who to trust. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm like, this shit is just out of hand. Like, I thought that shit would be easier for me not to this nigga gone, but I'm like, what the fuck? Jazz like, bitch, we just gotta just stay alert. We just gotta be on point. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep something in your dough. Like, I would keep shit in the dough. Even when me Ronnie Ray being that sleep, I keep shit in the dough. Well, motherfucker can't just come run up in my cell. That next week, me and Jazz come from lunch. We laugh and this is like a week later after that shit happened, right? With this nigga Garfield. Me and Jazz coming from lunch. Jazz going into her section. I'm going into 3 section, right? I see my celly sitting on the stairs. She's like shaking his head like something wrong. And so I look upstairs on 3 row with him and I walk up there. I'm like, Celly, what's wrong? He like, I need to talk to you, man. I need to talk to you about something. And I'm like, what is it? I'm like, what's your thing? He like, I need to talk to you about something. It's important. He's like, man, I don't want to be in this. I don't want to be involved. But I gotta tell you this. He said, I go to school. He said, I'm at school. And this fool, I'm gonna call the nigga 137, all right? And this nigga was supposed to be cool with me too, right? From A building, from B side. He said, I go to school. He said, and this fool 137 tell me, hey man, you trying to make some money? And he was like, yeah, I'm always trying to make some money because Ronnie Ray didn't go to commissary. He was like, hey man, I got a proposition for you. Somebody gonna meet you in 3 Chow House at lunchtime. And so Ronnie Ray was like, shit, some money, man. I'm always trying to work and make some extra money. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, okay, cool.